Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I got a review for you. This is the complete. It's like a catch-up, but I'm really gonna review issue number 5 of Beta Ray Bill. I'm gonna catch you up to the story up until this point. This is a complete review. There will be spoilers. It's a review. If you have not read this, you should be watching this. But if you have not read this and it seems interesting, I don't spoil everything in the book. I leave a lot up to imagination, and I'd hope you'd read this. And if you have read this, let me know your thoughts. Not everything makes it up to a review here on Evil's Comics. Now, I do review all comics that I pick up, and this is one that I picked up, so definitely was going to get a review, but not all warrant a one issue, a one video type deal. This book definitely deserves more than just a one. It was fantastic. The art, the story, Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer, man, they definitely killed it. I am not up to date on Marvel. I'm not picking up a lot of Marvel, and it's due to just lack of interest and other reasons. But the few Marvel titles that I have stuck on with, like Aliens and this book, man, I am so glad I stuck with this book because the ending did not disappoint. So to catch you up to date with issues 1 through 4, we are following Beta Ray Bill right out of the events of the King in Black events. As you can see here, like with Fing Fang Foom, he's got the null, symbol on his head. Basically, at this time, like events that happened before this comic, Thor had destroyed Beta Ray Bill's hammer, and when doing so, it took away his magical ability to revert back to his regular Corbinite form. Now, most of us know Beta Ray Bill for his horse-like appearance. That's what I'm drawn into. I love Beta Ray's appearance. I think it's one of the cooler creations in the past that Marvel has done. He's one of my, ever since his release, he's been one of my favorite characters on looks alone. Nothing wrong with Thor. I've always liked Thor. Out of the Avengers, he's one of the Avengers that I'm drawn to the more because I've always liked Greek and North mythology and Egyptian mythology. So Thor's already there. Kind of like Hercules too. Greek mythology. So Thor breaks his hammer. He loses that ability. If you don't know, he is dating Sif from Valhalla. And in the very beginning of the issues, that he is facing a problem where he just doesn't feel comfortable in his horse-like form. It's not it's not the appearance that he was born with. He feels like he's ugly, and he can't get any woman he wants, even though he does have Sif. Sif kind of agrees to him with a point, because there's certain things that they just can't do in that form. Like I imagine kissing and to that degree. I'm pretty sure they could do a lot of other stuff. That just he has a elongated face, and I don't even think he has a bottom. He does have a bottom jaw, but it's all the way at the bottom. It'd be weird. So he does go on this mission to try and get a new hammer. Tracks down Odin. Odin can't make him a new hammer. He tells him that he didn't even make the hammer. It was like these trolls that we know, like in Valhalla, that most of the trolls and stuff like that, and dwarves created most of the weapons. So it's basically this journey on him trying to get a new weapon of any sorts, basically to give him back the courage and so he can gain that magical ability, because I don't think the magical ability was tied to the hammer per se, but it was just part of the curse or the mythos to picking up the hammer. So I think if he gets the new weapon, it's kind of it's a guarantee that that part of the magic will come back. So in the first and second issues, he does pick up quite a cast of ensemble for his team. He picks up his wingman, as he likes to be called, the whole journey, but he picks up Scourge, and I love Scourge. He made an appearance in Thor Ragnarok, and I love the actor that got to play him. But Scourge is the one guy from Valhalla that loves guns versus the swords and stuff. He also picks up Pip the Troll. I know Pip the Troll has a huge fan following out there. And also Beta Ray Bill's ship is along with the journey, and the ship's name is Scuttlebug. They eventually somehow, I can't remember exactly right, but they find out that that Surtur's weapon is somehow, and his weapon is called, it's a sword, and it's called Twilight. And somehow Surtur has lost the ability to use Twilight. So Beta Ray finds, he basically is on his way, and that's kind of like this issue right here. He's on his way to, you know, basically the Norse version of hell, and to go, you know, track down Twilight, and which they show right here. Up into the right before this event, it was basically, you know, the group getting to, you know, basically hell, and trying to make it into hell, because there's different levels. And as they were traveling, Scuttlebutt ends up taking this magical form. She actually takes like kind of a more robotic humanoid form. Beta Ray Bill is not used to it. It's kind of like this whole thing where he's talked to his ship, and it's, you know, she had an AI, so that they had friend conversations, but it was always his ship, you know. So in the book, it is kind of an awkward at first type situation with Beta Ray Bill and Scuttlebutt. Pip the Troll and Scourge, they play like minor roles in the beginning. You know, not super minor, but they're kind of woven in and out. But I mean, the main story is Beta Ray Bill, Scuttlebutt, and his new weapon is basically the whole, you know, the main characters of the story. You know, Scourge is really there for, you know, more moral support than, I mean, because Beta Ray Bill is already a badass, you know, and then Pip the Troll, you know, he's kind of like, I guess, your wild card backup, you know. But basically, they have finally made it to hell, and in the very last issue, we saw that Beta Ray Bill had finally found Twilight and was walking up to it, and as he walks up to it, Surtur is there to greet him, you know, just like on the front cover here. And basically, Surtur told him that Twilight, you know, was he did lose the ability to use the sword because he was beaten, you know, in combat, and the sword deemed him unworthy. So basically, the sword at this time is waiting for somebody worthy to pick it up. Surtur has been like hiding by the sword because he cannot use it, but he's been waiting for somebody to try and come, you know, use it. And if they're worthy enough to him, he wants to fight him and kill him, so he can prove, you know, to the sword that he is still worthy to, you know, wield it. So in walks Beta Ray Bill, and of course Surtur is like, yes! Because Beta Ray Bill is definitely that worthy opponent, you know, that, and for those of you who don't know, Surtur is like the main bad guy from Beta Ray Bill's like origin story. He is the reason that all the other Corbinites died. I mean, he was basically the main antagonist in the Beta Ray Bill storyline, and how he got his powers. Yeah, you know, the whole sad story about how he lost all his people, kind of thing. So for on both accounts, you know, Surtur is very happy to take up the challenge that is Beta Ray Bill. And Beta Ray Bill, on the other hand, is just straight up revenge. You know, he's like, yes, I get this chance to, you know, prove my worth to this new weapon. I might get my magics back, and I get to kill this mofo. Like, yeah, I mean, so first off, it's just a great situation. I mean, right here, it's that whole conversation that I was just telling you about, like how Surtur is telling him that you know, Surtur is ready. And right off the bat, they go running at each other, and Surtur's like 100 foot tall, so of course, you know, he just pummels, you know, Beta Ray. Beta Ray, you know, he's like, oh, you fucking coward. He was all like, you gonna fight me as 100 foot tall? He was like, why don't you be a man, and you know, and like shrink down to like my size at least, keep your powers, but you know, fight me for real. So Surtur's like, yeah, I'll do that. And he does, like right here, he shrinks down to Beta Ray Bill's size, and for the rest of the majority of the comic, it is, you know, showdown, bro down, at the hoedown, you know, I don't know, but it's basically like pow, crack, snap, crackle, pop, you know, type thing. And I mean, it's epic. The art that goes into it is I mean, this issue alone is worth this whole series. It was so good. Okay, on the background, their ship has kind of been like stalled out because they're in the bottom levels of hell, and it's all lava and hot, and Scuttlebutt is really like, she split between herself because she was the AI of the ship, and now the ship itself. So she's been trying to like get it back online and keep it alive, and all this other stuff. She realizes that the cybernetic effects that are coming from Beta Ray Bill and the massive mystical powers of the god that is Surtur is creating energies that she can use to repair the ship. So she goes to work with Scourge and Pip the Troll trying to do that. One of the things that I was kind of hoping that they were going to do in this comic, because they kept hinting that that Scuttlebug was changing, and then she did change forms. Well, I thought it was kind of weird they brought in Scourge and Pip the Troll, and I was kind of hoping they were doing something, the right thing with Scourge and Scuttlebug, because I was hoping like she Megatron, and since he likes guns, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, and we didn't get it per se until this issue, because fuck yeah, we got it, and she totally Megatron, like G1 Megatron, because this whole time she starts building this equipment to fix the ship, and as you can see, she's like, absorbing these shock waves and this power that is coming off this battle. I mean, the whole rest of the time it is a back and forth between, Beta Ray Bill and Surtur, and there's no one, defining like who is better at this time. It's kind of an equal back and forth. I mean, I will say for the most part, it looks like Surtur has definitely the upper hand. Like every one of his snaps or bush or cracks looks like it really hurts the hell out of Beta Ray. At the same time, like it gets to a point where it does look like Beta Ray is going down, and Pip the Troll, the wild card, he kind of jumps in there and tries to help. I mean, but we're talking about Surtur, right? And Pip the Troll, and of course that's exactly what happens. Is Pip the Troll just gets demolished. But Pip the Troll came out of G as well, because he did have a bomb in place. He knew he was going to take the blow, and so he ends up taking out like I wouldn't say he blows off Surtur's arm, but he does a lot of damage to it. Beta Ray is able to use the force and of the bomb and everything, and he quickly does this, and if y'all don't know, he loves these grapple moves. It's one of the things I loved about Beta Ray. I mean, there's a huge cover about Beta Ray like pile driving Thor, or doing a wrestler move, and just like right here, he grabs like Surtur in this weird way, grabs him under the legs, goes over the back, and pile drives him into this huge spike that goes right through Surtur's midsection. It does not kill Surtur, of course, he's unkillable, but I mean it is affecting him. He is like, oh, you son of a, and he's getting more pissed and stuff. And Scourge and Scuttlebutt, of course Pip's kind of laying over there really hurt, but they're kind of getting worried for their friend Beta Ray, because I mean it's kind of like fighting the Hulk. You can think you do it in the beginning, and then the more you make him mad, he gets stronger, and so it's kind of looking that way with in this case. So just like I kind of previously mentioned, they show right here, but Scuttlebug is Megatroning into her like gun form for Scourge. She calls Scourge and she's like, bro, you trust me, please? I've been wanting to do this, and now that I've been like transforming, it is time. And basically and this spread right here, man, and she basically combining the ship and all the forces that are going on, she literally G1s into a huge super cannon laser type thing, and basically tell Scourge to gut it, and that boy does. He literally takes a chunk out of Surtur. I mean, you saw the size of the ship, right? I mean, so the blast coming off that, and at this moment, Surtur's our size, so I mean, it hurt. At this time, at the exact moment that this happened, for some reason, the sword deems, there's a noise that's coming off the sword, and Beta Ray feels like it's time, and literally he is deemed worthy, and he pulls Twilight from its pedestal and releasing its power. Surtur is instantly kind of pissed off, but at the same time, he kind of like acknowledged that if he was going to be beat, it was kind of like, like the greatest thing to have been beat by a Corbinite because of what he did to the Corbinites type thing. We do see right here that well, I mean, of course, I don't think he can die, but he does get beheaded by Twilight, his own sword, and they do show instantly that with that being done, Beta Ray gets his Corbinite form back, and he gets his nice old face. They kind of do some touching farewells, because of course, Scourge was only here for a brief time, the Valkyries allowed him to do this mission, and now that the mission is done, it's time for Scourge to go back home, and of course the Valkyries show up. It's also kind of a plus because their ship was still struggling, so the Valkyries do help them kind of like get out of that struggle and make it back into space. They take them back to Beta Ray's dimension. Everybody else goes off on their way. Pip is alive and he is being healed in the ship. Scuttlebutt, I don't know, hopefully or magically, or you know, I want her to stay this way. I kind of like that she took this robotic form, that she's not just a ship anymore, but at the end of the book it does look like she's keeping that form, and they're going to go forward with Scuttlebutt in that form. She was kind of one of my favorite parts, her humor and everything. This is like one of my favorite parts of the book. I don't know how they got the rights to do this, but in these shots right here, and if you read this comic and if you miss this, he is watching Steven Spielberg's Hook. It's one of my favorite movies. It's a movie that I saw in the theaters. I still love it to this day. R.I.P. Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams. If you have not seen Hook, you are definitely missing out. But he is watching Hook, and it is the scene where the Lost Boys don't believe that Peter Pan is, because he's older, that it's really Peter Pan. And it's that whole, like, you know, the kid touching on that kid's face, and he's like, Peter, I see you in there, it's really you. And, you know, it kind of plays like a major part because, of course, Beta Ray Bill has his you know, real face back, but at the same time, he's kind of realizing, fuck, man, like, did I really want that? Like, maybe I was kind of happy with that, you know, kind of face. And they show at the very end him looking at this reflection of how he used to look versus the Corbinite form. And it kind of goes back, it makes you think about the beginning of how, like, you know, he already had what he wanted. He just thought he wanted something else kind of thing, because Sif was already with him. She was already happy. You know, that she did kind of say that there was like negatives about his horse-like form, but she was still with him romantically, and they were an item, and she was, you know, loving and you know, everything you would want from your other. And he kind of was like, oh, I feel like I'm not myself. And so at the end of the book, you kind of get this like, man, maybe he was, you know, he didn't have to do all this. Maybe he was just happy with. He should have been happy with the way he was, you know, and accept the person he was and what he was given, you know, regardless of how he looked. You know, it's not really about how we look, right? It's about what's inside, what defines us, you know, what we do, you know, what we've been through kind of thing. Man, Daniel, Warren Johnson, and Mike Spencer at Marvel, y'all did an amazing job. If you have not had the chance to read this, it was just phenomenal. If you don't know Beta Ray Bill, it's an excellent, you know, explanation of his character, kind of a quick sum up of, especially in issues 1 through 2. But that is my quick review on the issues 1 through 5 of Beta Ray Bill, with the very extensive, you know, review on issue number 5. I'm looking forward to where Beta Ray Bill goes from this. You know, I'm more a Beta Ray Bill fan than Thor, so I'm kind of looking forward to if this is going to be an ongoing, or if he's just going to kind of pop up in Thor. In my honest opinion, he deserves to get his own series, and it needs to be ongoing, just like everybody else. You know, Beta Ray Bill's just as cool, motherfucker. All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let me hear your thoughts. You know how I did, what I need to do better. Love y'all. Bye.